What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you are looking to get some more power out of your Predator, you're in the right place. Today we're going to dive into the Predator 212 and see if we can get some more power out of it. So real quick before we dive into this video, I've been looking for a go-kart for KK. He said he wanted one just like mine, the same setup and everything. Well, the other day on the Facebook Marketplace, I think I found out what my go-kart is because I had no idea. And I found it, messaged the guy, drove an hour and a half to get it, but I do believe I found the go-kart that's like mine. It just has a roll cage on it. So I went, picked it up, and I'm gonna show you guys that real quick. KK hasn't seen it when he comes back from his aunt's because he's out of school right now and we didn't want to leave them at home while me and Amber worked. So we took him over there to stay for the next couple of days, but he has no idea. I'm super excited to show him and I want to show you guys, and I'll get his reaction to it when he gets home. But here it is. So from what I'm told, this go-kart is a Murray Explorer and it is set up almost identical to mine. So it's a great starting point. I'm gonna lower the cage down because it doesn't need to be that high. KK's not that tall and he wants it more compact and I guess looking more like a little race car. So we're gonna do that. But I just wanted to show you guys, I was super excited. It's a solid go-kart, worth the drive. The guy that I met was super awesome. He's into mini bikes. And yeah, this is it. So I am uber excited to show him. I cannot wait for him to get home and surprise him with this. But now it's time to work on the engine. So we're gonna go in there, I'm gonna set everything up and I'll start recording and we'll get this Predator 212 tore down. All right guys, we're in the shop now. I'm gonna go over some of the parts that I've got that we're gonna be installing today. I just figured I'd lay them out, kind of show y'all what we're doing and go from there. So I have the cam here. Here's the spec sheet for it. It's the Hot 265 cam. There's valve springs over there. I gotta change again to the 22 pounds. This is the billet rod and bearings. I went ahead and got the 20,000s over rod. And if you match that up with the flat top piston and use the fire ring head gasket, everything should clear and that'll up your compression, give you a little more out of it. And then I have the billet flywheel. So, all right, we got the engine here. So first thing you want to do is drain the oil. I've already drained the oil on this one. I'm going to start working on getting the tank off, and also I've got to figure out how to get the fuel out. There's the cutoff valve on the carburetor, so I might take the whole carburetor tank off together because there's not a shutoff valve for the fuel other than what is on the OEM carburetor. I'm going to be upgrading to a 24mm slide style Mikuni, so I won't need this. I'll use this stage 1 kit on Caden's go-kart when we get to that point. So I'm gonna start by taking a few things off. We're gonna start with this actually, not the fuel tank. Start getting some things out of the way. This is a 8mm socket for these 3 bolts. Set that aside. This most likely will not be on yours because the guy that I bought this from made this. It worked, but gotta go. These are 10 millimeter. Go ahead and take off the linkage for all the throttle stuff. Get it out of the way. It's at 8 right here. And I believe at 8 right here. We'll see once we get it off. There's a tiny spring under here. These are also 8 millimeter. We'll take those 4 and remove this cover. Disconnect those wires. All right, that's going to be an 8. You can do it like that if you want to. I personally like to put bolts back where I pulled them out of if I can. It just helps me not get all mixed up when I'm getting ready to put it back together. Just a little trick I do. You don't have to. You can label them, or if you've got a good memory, more power to you. Check these out. These are going to be 10s. Alright, so you're going to probably need a 10 chrome if you're taking off the stage 1 kit. The impact sockets won't fit, but it's a 10. You're going to have to take this off to get the carb off. Move it over, the linkage will bend just a hair, pull up, comes right out. Fuel line. Get your spark plug wire out of the way. And this should come right off. Don't lose your gasket. This is important on these. If you're going to reuse your stage 1 kit or repurpose it. So I didn't have to drain the tank, so carb, tank, they came off at once. Starting to look a lot less like a Predator 212. It's the backing for the carburetor and the gaskets in there as well. And this is your governor, it goes in there. To remove your coil, it's gonna be an 8, and I am not gonna use any electric tools on that just because I don't want to take a chance of damaging anything. It's ran off of a magnet. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I don't know if it'll damage it, but I would rather just take the extra time to take these 2 bolts out and be safe. Like I said, it's an 8. Here's those 2. It's stuck on the magnet. Just fish it out. And your coil's off. Guess we can get this out of the way since it's not needed. It's also a 10. Governor arm. That is a 19 millimeter. So I used a screwdriver on this ear for the coil, stuck it on the flywheel. It'll stop, popped it loose. Fan. I'm gonna have to go get a hammer and a little pry bar for that, so I'll jump over here real quick. Take the valve cover off. 8. My engine is newer, so luckily the gasket didn't stick and tear. There might be one in the kit, not sure. Put that back on, just gonna pop it. Just like that. Flywheel's off. And apparently had some little homies in there. Yikes. I bet that was causing all kinds of balance issues. Thing was up there like that. That is wild. Must have been from the guy before me. I guess he had this thing sitting outside. Sorry, homies. Sure, fiction. This way making some noise. These are also 10 millimeter. I guess they did a burnout. Just stick a screwdriver in there. Now there's probably going to be just a little bit of oil left. But there's your case cover. Yep. Hold your cam if you do this. Because if you don't hold your cam, that's how easy it comes out. Now, your tappets are going to start falling through. The 2 just little flat pieces, they're just little tappets. This should all be loose now. 21. Gotta take the spark plug out so it turns over. There's nothing. There's nothing that's gonna release the compression now when you're trying to turn it over. Pull the spark plug out. Should be able to turn it over pretty freely. So if you look inside here, here's the connector, the bottom of the connecting rod. We're gonna take these two out. They should be 10 millimeters. We'll take those out. That will free up the rod so we can push it back up. Get the crank out. It's a little bit more difficult if you have little sausage hands. There's the bottom, there's the top part of the rod. So you can see the rod, I don't know if you can see it there. The rod is still on the crank journal. You twist it, it will push the rod to the top. And you should be able to line it up with the rod at the top. Slide out your little baby crank. Now if you look close, you can see in here where I used the bolt cutter. Let me see if I can get it a little closer for you guys. But if you look up in there, you can see where I used the bolt cutter, cut it off, and you can see the little ears that I'm talking about to keep it from coming out. So that is that. This is most likely gonna rip. It is what it is. The kit from Go Power Sports comes with a new one. So this time, I was not worried about ripping it. We'll clean that off later. All right, let's see. So, you can see your rocker arms, they're loose. It's the most unused socket in my toolbox. This is a 12 millimeter. I don't hardly ever use it. But for your head bolts, and there's two on the inside. Okay, so before we take the head off, we need to take this little heat shield off. It's going to be an 8 millimeter. right there, heat shield. All right, we got the heat shield off. So right down in here are your push rods. You give it a little, just barely touch it, it'll fall through the keeper. And they will come we'll clean all this up. They will come right out. All right, you got your head bolts are loose. Should be. Your old head gasket and your head. So while you have it off, this would be a good time, if you know how, to do some porting, polishing, just kind of clean it up. Usually from the manufacturer, it's pretty rough in there. If you could just polish it up a little bit, it would help. I might do that. I might make a little video on the side on how to do that. But that's the head. The head is off. If you notice though, when I took it off, this hit the table. This is one of the little dowels that go in here. It came out with the head. Don't lose that. It's what helps line up your head. And if you look on the bottom, it's recessed. And these two, it's kind of got a beveled edge. This one kind of looks like it, but it's not. And this one's almost the same size as the bolt. So when it goes back on, these dowels will line back up. Now that that's done, and if you also look closely, pay attention to the orientation on your piston. It's got an arrow pointed down. We're gonna want to remember that for when we're assembling the engine. Push through the bottom, just like that. Stock piston and rod is out. Now we can put it back together. I find that very odd. So I just got this all apart, and come to find out, they don't put bearings in these from the manufacturer. With our new rod, it has brand new little rod bearings that are gonna ride inside here. Very strange, but can't control it. It is what it is. Makes me happy we're changing the rod, because with the RPMs this thing is going to be spinning at, I hate to imagine what would happen with no bearings being there and it starves for oil just a little bit due to the high RPMs. I can see why all the guys always tell me, have been telling me, that I need to do a rod at minimum. Makes complete sense now. So there's our bear case. Seal's still intact. Still need to take this out. I'll go ahead and do that. That should come right out, and that's what the governor arm connected to. And if you look, like I tried to show you, I don't know if it'll focus. See the little ears on it? That keeps it from coming out the top. I cut it right underneath it. I haven't had a single problem, but since we got it apart, we might as well. From what I've seen and what I've read, a 1/4" bolt, doesn't even have to be a tapper bolt, goes right in there. Also, we are going to go back to where your oil level sensor, I put it all back together, filled it with silicone. Haven't had a single leak out of it, but since we're out, I think I'm gonna tap it to a 7/16 bolt. Go ahead, put Loctite on it, put it back in there. And while we're on this side, I'm going to knock out the dowel that's on the inside where the governor gear was. So I will get all that together. I might call it a night tonight, pick up tomorrow where we left off. This is the disassembly. Might throw this video up to keep them from being so long, and then throw another video up of the reassembly, the tapping this bolt hole out to a 7/16, getting 1/4" bolts for the dowel pin and the governor rod, and go from there. Like I said, I might make another video porting. I ported the blower on my GTO, so I have a pretty good knowledge of what I'm doing when it comes to porting, so I might go ahead and port the head just a little bit. But I think I'm gonna end it off there, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section. I'd love to hear from y'all. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me out to know people are watching it. Give a thumbs up. That would be also very awesome because it lets me know I'm doing a good job. Other than that though, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night. So remember guys, love each other.